Hey, what's up? It's a Figure Hunter, and up for final wrist accuracy review tonight is the Whoop 4.0. After 7 CrossFit workouts, a full analytical analysis of how the accuracy is held up when wearing the Whoop on the wrist and doing CrossFit workouts. As always, the Figure Hunter channel and the FigureHunter.com website associated with it is for the purpose of testing and tracking devices for CrossFit. And if you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing for more. There is a lot more content being tested for the Whoop. Oh, I got my little puck on there still. I'm going to tell you how long it takes to charge this puppy. A lot more testing for Whoop, a lot more testing for the TicWatch Pro Ultra, TicWatch Pro 3 Ultra, and a lot of other watches on the way. So please stay tuned for more. Please consider subscribing. As we've been talking about, the Whoop 4.0 just finally was released. It is the official wearable of CrossFit, and all the CrossFit athletes shown it worn on the wrist. The 3.0 was a total failure when worn on the wrist and doing a CrossFit workout. It absolutely could not keep up with the intensity of a CrossFit workout. And the whole point of calculating your strain, which is the pertinent, like the quintessential information for Whoop, is to be able to track the intensity of your workout, and the intensity of your workout is most often tracked by how long you stay in peak heart rate zones. So, in testing the Whoop 4.0 when worn on the wrist, and we're going to next transition to testing it when worn on the bicep. I'm going to use a bicep band, I'm going to use a bicep sleeve. We're going to test it in all sorts of different ways and mechanisms. So when testing it, we're going to look at its ability to keep up with the intensity of a CrossFit workout. That's the point, right? Got to be able to keep up if it's worth anything to when worn on the wrist. And I want you to be able to evaluate what you think of the results. I've spent more analytical time on the calculations and the heart rate data using the DC Rainmaker analyzer and exporting it to Excel spreadsheets, looking at percentage differences over the course of the workout. And I've just finally come back to the same sort of premise. Can it keep up with the more intense heart rate zones? So when you take your calculation of your max heart rate and then you look at the zones, zone 4 and 5, 80 to 100%, and then zone 5, 90 to 100%. Can it keep up with the most strenuous part of the workout? And then a small percentage attributable to can it keep up with the average heart rate above 100 beats per minute. So what is the percentage of accuracy in each of those areas? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the charts so I can see the overlay of the data, heart rate from the chest strap, heart rate from the Whoop. We're going to look at, did it keep up with the warm-up and lifting portion of a workout? Just in simple terms, just when you're lifting and your heart rate's coming up and then coming right back down. So basically tracking its accuracy in the lower heart rate zones with less continual strenuous work. And then can it keep up with the Metcon? And the first couple of calculations are just based on the percentage of accuracy for the entire time, the warm-up, the lift, and then the Metcon. And then the last 5 tests are with just Metcon only when we're looking at percentage of accuracy, because the hardest thing for an optical heart rate sensor to do when worn on the wrist is keep up with the high level strenuous intensity of a Metcon where you're going for 15, 18, 20, 30, 40 minutes at a high strenuous pace. So can it keep up with those types of workouts? Then we're going to look at a summary of the accuracy. I give a little bit of a different weight to the average heart rate versus the zone 4 and 5 versus the 5 to have it all culminate together to a percentage of accuracy for CrossFit testing. And we're going to talk about some of the variables, but I want to hear what you have to say with what you think of the workouts and what you think of the actual results. And then next we'll get into the bicep testing down the road. So with that, let's dive into the actual results. I'm really excited to continue to pair with the 5K runner when we sort of partner with some final review things, taking some video tidbits from me and obviously all of the the typed up, written version from them. So please check them out in the description below. There will be timestamps in the description below as well, so you can dive right in. So let's dive in. The Whoop 4.0. So again, like I said, we're going to look at charts. And I broke each of the charts down into the warm-up and lifting portion and what lifts we did, and then into the Metcon portion. So this is the first workout, and if you've seen any of the previous sort of initial midpoint reviews, this is going to be similar information. It's going to be the exact same information. When we look at these graphs, the red is always going to be the chest strap. The H10, polar H10 chest strap with ECG monitoring, which is the standard of accuracy. And the light blue is always going to be the Whoop, and then I'll put what it is up top. So red, chest strap, light blue, Whoop. So you can see in the Metcon, the warm-up and bench press, it didn't keep up with the bench press. And this was the first time I tested it. First time out of the box, first time really getting fired up and excited. And it really was a total failure. There was a lot of, you can see there's 3 cleans, 3 front squats, 3 shouldered overheads, plus double unders, and there was increasing rounds of those Macho Man movements in the complex. So there was just increasing barbell complexes, and it failed. It really failed, but you can see the differences there. Accuracy, 73, 24% accurate in zone 4 and 5, and 0% accurate in zone 5. So then we get into the next is deadlifts and just low reps. So deadlifts, you can see it sort of zigzags. It doesn't look like it has a true lag on the lifting portions. It just doesn't get it right. And then we get into the first more steady state Metcon, where it's intense rowing and assault bike, followed by shortening periods of rest. And you can see it got the accuracy flow generally right there. And you see this, the averages were higher, 80% on the average heart rate, 88.6 on the zone 4 and 5, and 72 on the zone 5. And if it's red, it's above the accuracy, so it's giving you higher readings than it should. Then we got the warm-up for test 3. This was no lifting, but I just sort of did like lighten rounds for warm-up. And then you get into the Metcon, which was 3 rounds for row, deadlift, box jumps, and strict headstand push-ups, which I thought would test the accuracy across the wrist, but it actually held up pretty well here, and you can see that in the accuracy. Average heart rate 80, 93, 98. Now we're tracking the Metcon only, so we're really honing in on the accuracy in the most intense portions. And 97 in the zone 4 and 5, 73 in zone 5. Then you got heavy 4-rep back squats. So this is where the heavy 4-rep back squats really strained the heart, and the heart rate jumped, and the whoop didn't catch it at all. So I don't know what exactly happened here. This was probably the worst correct tracking, the least accurate tracking for the lift portion. So, you know, a lot higher strain, at least in doing 4 heavy back squats, and it just completely failed there. But then when you get into Metcon, wall balls, air squats, assault bike, and lots of pull-ups. So basically you did wall balls and then pull-ups, 2 sets of air squats and then pull-ups, and then 4 sets of assault bikes and then pull-ups. So with the wrist flex for the wall balls, the wrist flex for the pull-ups, there's not really wrist flex on the assault bike. You can see it held up the general flow of the workout. That's what I want to see. Is it tracking the general flow of the workout? And you can see it here. Average heart rate 92%, zone 4 and 5 97%, and the zone 5 was just a negligible fraction of 1 minute. So now we got legless rope climbs, and it's weird because the chest strap is in red, and the chest strap tracked each of the rope climbs. So it was legless seated rope climbs, and you just sort of, you know, did one and took a break. And the heart rate just stayed elevated the whole time on the whoop. So definitely very inaccurate if you're looking at just the lifting portion. And so how did it do in the workout? It actually tracked relatively well if you're just looking at the percentage of time in the zones. Bar muscle ups, hang snatches, box jump overs, rows. So it's just repeating, you know, rounds of bar muscle, hang snatches, box jump overs, rows. So you obviously, your bar muscle ups are going to give you a lot of wrist flex. Hang snatch is going to give you a pretty good amount, and rows not really giving you any. So that it held it okay, just obviously wasn't a clean tracking of the rounds themselves. And you can see the accuracy, 94, 95 in the average heart rate, zone 4 and 5, 97. But again, we're getting failing numbers in the zone 5. Now we got bench presses, and it tracked the bench presses great. It's weird in this mid-level of heart rate, like where the heart rate is in the 100 to 130 range, the whoop is always tracking too high. So that's something to be aware of. It's always tracking too high in that mid-range, but it is tracking the peaks in the workout. And then we have a failure again. So it was just exhausting thrusters. It was basically like, it's only like 9 thrusters, but it was just like to failure, and it's repeating rounds of that as basically an AMRAP for a short period of time, but AMRAP with thrusters and double unders. And so the heart rate just stayed elevated the whole time, and the whoop did not pick up any of the intensity at all. And you can see that in the fail. So here's failure number 2, just a total failure. The average heart rate wasn't even accurate for the Metcon itself. Zone 4 and 5, fail. Zone 5, 0, complete fail. And then we have deadlifts, you know, warm up and deadlifts. So warm up again, whoop tracking high for the warm up. So if you're just doing steady state exercise, it's not coming in right, but it did track the, you know, the fall of the heart rate and then increase with the deadlift intensity. And then here it is, 7 rounds for time. It was assault bike, toes to bar deadlift with 1 minute rest in between. And it tracked the flow of the workout really, really well. So again, percentage accuracy coming in strong. Heart rate average 100% on point, zone 4 and 5. 80 to 100% of max heart rate, 95%, and then zone 5 was just negligible across the board. So here is all the numbers. The average heart rate percentage accuracy, the zone 5, and zone 4 and 5. You can see just by the colors, the lay of the land. So the colors, you can see that it's getting more often green. That means 90%. That means an A score in the zone 4 and 5. So that is a real positive. So that is something that's really effective. So in the zone 5 though, it's getting a lot more failure marks and only a couple of C scores. So when you look at the average across the board, you have average heart rate 86. Now that's not great, but this is a pure Metcon tracking average test. You have zone 5 41%, zone 4 and 5 76%. So not fantastic. And if you average those around with putting different weights, a weight of the percentage on the highest of the zone 5, and then second zone 4 and 5, and then last the average heart rate. So you can just, again, 60% accurate. So you can have, like, in that first workout a total failure, in that sixth workout a total failure, just inability to keep up, and that unfortunately brings it down. But the thing to think about is you got 7 workouts and 2 failures amongst 7. So let's come back together and talk about it. So what do we see with this? It is fundamentally more accurate than the Whoop 3.0. I can say that, even though the net result when looking at its percentage of accuracy at the highest strain point and at the generally highest strain point, zone 5 and then zone 4 and 5, it is, it is not passing the test. It is getting a 60. And this is something I didn't share, if you actually take out that one completely failed workout, you just remove the data altogether and you take the average of the other 6 workouts, the total accuracy only bumps up to 67% accurate across the 3 tests and the different weights to each of them. And the actual zone 4 and 5 accuracy only bumps up to 84% accurate. Now 84 is pretty good. Anybody in the 80 plus is pretty good for an optical to keep up with higher zones. Now, when we obviously take into the zone 5 failures and it brings the average down to 67%, then that's actually on par with Polar's Precision Prime 1.0 and 2.0. So there's a lot of other manufacturers that have gotten that level of accuracy. So what do you think? One thing I will say in looking at the charts is that it really does, we're talking 7 workouts. I really feel like it got 5 out of 7 right. But again, if you just look at percentages, that's 2 out of 7 wrong. So if you were to take a test and you got 5 answers correct and 2 wrong, what would your grade be? So that's the percentage of accuracy this sort of has. And then if you're evaluating your overall physiological health and strength, ability to approach the next workout on something that's 5 out of 7 right, 5 out of 7 accuracy, you have to start to wonder, is the culmination of all the information inaccurate? So I'm going to continue to say that if you want, and I'm going to guess, if you want to get any accuracy out of the Whoop 4.0, you have to wear it on the bicep. You have to wear it. I think the Whoop 3.0 got 80-something, low 80s% accuracy when worn on the bicep. So I'm going to hope and assume that it's going to be the same here. So if it gets better than what it did previously, then we're going to be good, because it's going to get hopefully 90% accuracy. One thing I forgot to say is that in testing the length of time the battery lasts, I'm getting 4 to 4.5, really pushing 4.5. So really 4 to 4.25 days of battery life, and I'm getting about a 50% recharge per hour. So it technically took me 3% recharge. It took me 2.5 hours. So the last little bit was just really straining. So 50% recharge per hour and 4.5 or 4, let's just say 4 days of battery life is not a great recharge to battery lifetime. But when you have a puck and you don't ever have to take it off, the only thing you have to do is just remember that oh gosh, I still have the puck on there, then not a problem for me, but just wanted to give you that detail. That is the accuracy of the Whoop 4.0 when worn on the wrist and doing a CrossFit workout, looking at the warm-up, looking at lifting motions, looking at Metcon motions, all in different isolation, and we compared to a chest strap. It's the Fit Gear Hunter. Thanks so much for watching.